Well, good day. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're out here at a wonderful, not really partner of the channel, but somebody that we work with to demonstrate how to load a dump trailer, which, as you can see, we have Eva here and our little 5x10, as well as do some pile maintenance. Now, the pile behind me here, it's a good mix of gravel and snow and frozen ice and just about anything else. So it's going to be a good test for the R15 here, if we can cut through her and if we can actually get anything done today. So we're going to go over some things first before we even get in the piece of equipment or even attempt to line up our dump trailer and truck and trailer here. So some key things to know or to look for before you start doing what we're going to be doing here is getting a plan. Always have a loadout plan in mind, and if you're working with somebody else, make sure you and the person you're working with are on the exact same page, and keep an open communication, because as you go through loading out your pile, the conditions may change, the material may change, something may come up. Just keep a constant communication with the people you're working with, whether that's your spouse or a coworker, or heck, it could even be your dog. You know, if things change, tell your dog to get out of the way, right? We don't want anybody hurt. We don't want an animal hurt. We want everybody to be safe and productive with this. So going forward with that, we're going to do a close-up here. We'll go over the pile, and then we'll come up with a plan together on what we're going to do, and then we'll get to it. All right, let's get you in here and get a close-up look at what we're dealing with, and let's get her done. All right, so coming up to the pile here, clearly it's not level or even by any stretch of the imagination, and that's okay. We'll take care of that. So we're going to sit the R15, this beastie right here, we're going to sit it up on the pile. So one of the first things we're going to have to do is cut a little ramp in here. Now the camera may not show it, but that's actually kind of like that. So we don't want to be walking up that, right? We have a bucket. Let's make a nice ramp for ourselves, right? Nice and safe, nice gentle slope, and then we can be up top. So stepping back, knowing that I want to load out here to load the trailer there, I want my ramp over there, not here, because then I'm backing up onto my ramp and taking away working room. When you get up top on the pile, this will all make more sense. But so we want our ramp there. So let's walk up there and take a look. Okay, so while we're inspecting our pile, we'll look at our clearances here. Okay, so we're a little close to the fence by the ramp, but we'll stay away from the fence. So we get up to the top here. Well, yeah, that boat looks to be about as even as the moon's surface. So this whole area is low. That pile in the back is high. This kind of nub area is high. And that is low. And this is high. Okay, so we know when we come up here it's not going to be even remotely level. Alright, as we walk around our pile a bit more, alright, we can see it sloughed off into the fence. So we've got to be careful of this section. And we'll pull that away as we get up here. If we can get into it again, this is frozen. So we're going to give this a good old whirl. Coming around here, lots of room. But here you can see it's sloughed into this bin. Well, we don't want to be pushing material into the bin. So when we come and cut this, we're not going to cut right on the edge. We're going to cut next to it, and then we're going to pull it in or pull it away from the edge. Okay, looking at this area. Oh, there's another hazard. We got a fuel can there. We're going to move that. But you can also see how far back we can bring the trailer if we need to. But we want to stay a good bit away from this bin. Again, we don't want to hit that bin. So the plan in my mind that I have is we're going to take that material and anything from over there, we're going to move it here. We're going to create our little loadout area here with a pile kind of there. And you'll see why when we go to start loading the trailer. Okay, well, it feels like we can be up here. It feels like we can walk on this. So let's jump in the machine and get this done. Alrighty, with the new winter flavor Red Bull in hand, we are gonna take a look at the damage we've done here. So as you can see, our ramp here, right? And I've come along and I've taken some more off that hump that acted like a teeter-totter and filled in some of the low spots. That's something you do as you come through your piles, right? The more you work it and bring the material back, the easier it is to sit on and the more level and square you will be, right? So again, we cut this ramp. And compared to before, look at all the area that was filled in as we made our way to the back to start pulling the material from the back to where we wanted to load it out. Cleaning up as we go. So, as you can tell, we haven't gotten here yet, but look at all the area we've cleaned up, right? Now it's not completely cleaned up, and we can come back, but this gives you the idea, right? So there's your pile, you've pulled from here, and you've cast it over there, and then we'll load it into the trailer, top load or bench load, either or is the term for that. And then I'll show you what I did wrong there, but we'll get back to that. So, yeah, as you can see, you just pick away at it, and yeah, this is pretty frozen, so the R15's struggling, but it's doing all right. It's getting through it. All right, let's go show you what I did wrong with the dump trailer. If I don't fall and die. Okay. So here we are. So like I said earlier in our load plan, I wanted to load out from this corner, right? Well, I put the dump trailer in, I got excited, and I put the dump trailer in too early. See all the snow that's fallen down? Right? If you think of these snow chunks as rocks and dirt, wow, making a bit of a mess here, and definitely could have screwed up my trailer if these were, big boulders and whatnot. And, if I learned how to walk, that'd help too. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the trailer out. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to clean all this up with the machine. And we're going to build ourselves a square ledge. And then we're going to tuck the dump trailer into the ledge and load it out. Alright, so with our little ledge built here, right, you can see we cleaned it up with the bucket, made it all smooth. what we're going to do is we're going to put the trailer tire right about here. I don't know if you can kind of see that idea. And we're going to put the center of the axles, right, so the middle of the fender, we're going to put that in line with the bucket. So if we look at the machine, kind of get an idea, you know, we're going to put the middle of the fender kind of right here, that area, right? And then it'll be load, quick load into the dump trailer. All right, let's get to it. Alright, with a little test lift out of the way, test load, let's get to loading our pile out here. Easy does it, little rough. Yep, see? Just gotta take it easy. Might be getting a little greedy here, but there we go. That was beautiful. That's what you're after. material you're loading out is getting too close to the machine, you come in here and you give her a little flick back with the back of the bucket. Try not to fill your coupler with anything, with material. It does happen. You just wash it out if it does. But give her a little push back like this. Get it away from the machine. Right? Whoop, a little rocky there. We're not exactly on solid ground, so things are going to shake, which is fine. But then you can see, you come back in. Nice big bite. Probably a little greedy. Absolutely too greedy, but that's okay. Yeah, let's just spill it all over the side of the trailer, because why not? Bang, right in the middle. That's beautiful. Now, one thing you're going to see here is that this machine where I'm sitting right now is at pretty much full extension to load the middle of the trailer. And with this smaller bucket, that's okay. And the material we're in, like, you know, dealing with snow, as much as you, yeah, it's fairly heavy actually. But if you're running the bigger bucket, like the clean out bucket, or even the tilt bucket, you got to remember those attachments weigh more, and they carry more weight. So they carry more material, which means more weight. So in an ideal world, if I was using the clean out bucket or the tilt bucket, I would want my machine to be at least a foot or two closer to accommodate getting a full bucket and still being very stable. Because even though you've made your little platform and you're up here doing your thing, your machine can become unstable up here. So keep that in mind, right? The bigger the bucket, the closer to the trailer you want to be. Not necessarily at ground height, because this gives you a great big advantage, right? You can see exactly what you're doing. Lots of room, lots of visibility. There we go, another big greedy bucket. Oh yeah, see, there's the end of the extension shape. Oh yeah, just spill it everywhere. So you see the materials building up again. We'll give her a little love with the bucket. Push that out. Great. Get it away from the machine, which makes it easier to load. Alright. Back into it. Yeah, let's throw stuff at the trailer. Cool. So that's one of the other things you see that I'm doing is that I'll place it in. I'll place the material in, and then I'll curl the bucket out. And what that does is it pushes the material to the other side of the trailer. It allows for more room, and it pushes the weight to the other side, so you don't have a weight bias on the trailer when you go to dump it. Yep, all over the side of the trailer. Fantastic. And that's gonna happen to you. You're gonna spill stuff. It's not gonna go perfect. It's just dirt. It's not gonna hurt your trailer. You know, if you're loading rocks or whatever, yes, be extra careful. We don't want to damage your trailer or your equipment. Getting a little spicy. So as you can see, that's off to this side a bit. So we're just gonna come on it. We're gonna come on in, and we're gonna take the bucket. We're gonna put her down, and we're gonna give her a push, just like that. There we go. Perfect. And that's another advantage of being up here, is you can see that. You can see how the load's distributed in the trailer, and you can correct it. Got some runaways down here. Stretch and reach. Atta girl. There we go. See it on the camera, but down here by the trailer there's what we would call a nugget, and we're just gonna pull that up and out of the way. Nice. Just like that. That's beautiful. And this takes time. You know, like, yeah, sure, there's going to be people that are like, oh, you should never spill on the trailer and whatever. But you know what? You're learning. This is actually the first time I've ever top-loaded this trailer. So, and I do know that I'm a bit far away from it. So I'm expecting to have some let's call them interesting moments. Alright, now we're gonna take the bucket, we're gonna pat that down. we're loaded. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to top off the pile. We'll dump this out at the corner of the pile, and we'll show you how to load from the ground. So with that pile dumped and we're off that pile and onto the ground, we're going to ground load this trailer. Now, you'll see they're not square to each other. They're on a bit of an angle. And that's on purpose because in an ideal world, you only ever want to rotate the house of this machine 45 degrees before you're into the center of the trailer you're loading or the dump truck. This isn't a perfect world, but you get the idea. So we'll pop you back up onto the cab there. We'll load this trailer up, and you can see the difference. think you're going to be able to see it, but the blade in the front of the machine is just covered in snow, or what would be material, right? So how do we get around that? Well, we just move back, and then we load the front of the trailer. Right, we push the material away from us. There we go. There it is. Okay, getting a little spicy there. Oh, yep, see? Got a little greedy. Yep. See, every machine runs just a little differently. Be careful. Yes. Now, you can cheat and use the blade. I call the blade cheating because not every machine has a blade. So, if you get used to not using it to move material while you're loading out, it actually helps you become a better operator in the end. Because as you get up to the bigger machines, if you ever get a chance to run like a 30-ton or something like that, they don't have blades. So it's all bucket work, right? So this is a place I want to point something out. You'll notice that throughout this entire demonstration, showcase, whatever you'd like to call it, you'll see that I'm loading the trailer on my left side. Now, if you go back to the first video there, the introduction, you'll know that the left side is the cab side, which makes the right side the blind side. Now, the reason I do that, the reason I try to always load my trailer on the left, is because when I'm swinging the house and I'm moving, I've got my scuba material here, my snow, my dirt, my whatever, shake it off. My eyes, before I turn the machine, I turn my head. So my eyes see the trailer before the bucket gets to the trailer. This allows me to make any corrections I need to make on height or length or anything like that. It gives me the time. So for me, it's a safety thing because it allows you time, okay, maybe there's somebody there, maybe your dog happens to wander there, maybe one of your kids, or, maybe you notice something falls off the trailer. There's a million things that you could notice that if you were loading to the blind side and the bucket gets to the trailer before your eyes do, and before you have time to stop the machine or correct the machine or correct an action, then, there could be some pretty nasty consequences. It's a common practice to load from the cab side, and you start at the back of the trailer and load towards the front. Because if you look at the way dump trailers are designed, their axles are set back. So they want to carry all their weight on the back, right? It also helps when you go to lift the dump, or when you go to dump the dump trailer, I guess. It helps to have the weight at the back because the pivot point is obviously at the back of the trailer as well. So you're making it easier on the trailer if majority of your weight's already at the back. Now you do want some weight on the front. Obviously you want to keep that tongue down a little bit. You don't want to be getting squirrely on yourself here. But that's why we do that. So again, load from the cab side, keep the blind side to your material or your pile or whatever, and that'll make things safer for you, and it'll make you more aware about what's going on. You'll have more visibility and more reaction time, which is very important, right? Because it takes a split second and everything changes. Not trying to scare you, just trying to give you the reality, right? These are, as small as they are still metal and hydraulics, and they don't have feelings, and they don't stop on their own, and they really don't care what's in the way. So you have to be eyes up and alert all the time. But we're gonna call that loaded. You get the idea, and that's that. All right, so as you can see, we're all pretty well wrapped up here. I'll take a few minutes before we load up and take off for the day. I'll tuck all that back up nice. So when we get the next snowfall, probably next week, from the time we're recording this, that there's lots of room here for them to continue to stack snow. So that's my take on loading from on top of a pile, or bench loading, and then ground loading. You will find what works for you, and you go from there. But these are the practices I know to be safe and that I know to be effective. I hope that you found this informative and that it helps you. And we will be doing more videos down the road. They are kind of weather dependent because southern Alberta is like this, and that's the way she is. We are going to be getting into trenching. We'll be getting into, as I mentioned in the previous video, into hopefully some form of digging a pond, and that really will showcase benching again and how effective that is, and how using multiple pieces of equipment to get something done simultaneously all comes together. And it also may help explain why, when you see a large job site and you see all the articulated trucks running around and the excavators, why they're doing what they're doing. That all hopefully will kind of become clear to you. And again, knowledge is power. I do ask that you be safe. Stay within your means. If you're uncomfortable with something, don't do it. Yes, you saw me tracking up onto the pile, and it was a little dicey there, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm okay with it. I've put enough hours on the machine. I'm okay with it. If you're not, stop, take the time, smooth that area out. You have a bucket. You have the best tool to help you make a flat, safe, level area, and it is right there. So use it. Take your time. Slow down. And just always keep your eyes peeled, right? But again, my goal from this is to give you information and help you do things effectively and safely at the same time. I hope we accomplished that today. I would like to give a great big shout out to the wonderful ladies and gentlemen at Kotar Kennels here. They are the ones that allowed us to, you know, lay waste to their snow gravel mix of whatever pile. They have been they've helped with the channel a bit, like quite a bit. So show them some love in the comments. Drop a great big thank you to them for helping make this happen for you guys, as well as for us here at the channel. And that's it. I'm gonna stop rambling and get on out of here and get ready for the next video. You go on ahead and take care and stay safe out there. Have fun. God, I love having all these toys. This is just great. Oh, hi!